What is up, guys? Showing Off the King here, back with another video, and today I'm doing a good old-fashioned vlog. Alright? So, for those who don't know, I don't talk about it, I don't usually record about this subject. I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. Very, very huge. In my house, when Game of Thrones is on, it takes priority over a lot of stuff. Hell, it would take priority over sex. I'd rather watch Game of Thrones than have sex, okay? At least while it's on. If there was an option. I'm not saying I don't like, but anyway, this ain't about that. So, we are in the final season of Game of Thrones. They just aired the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones, and I am upset. I am flabbergasted. I am just befuddled at just the different things that I have witnessed this show become in the past 3 weeks. Now, one of the reasons why that is just because of it's mostly due to the writing. You know, they're the decisions because and I want to make it clear, like, I don't hate the direction the show is going. I hate the direction, the decisions that were made that got us to where we are today. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Let's talk about the Night King first, because these are things that I wish I would have talked about when it actually happened, but you know, I'm talking about it now. The Night King, that didn't bother me at all because of several reasons. Like, I know there's a lot of people online that's upset about the Night King, saying that the Night King was defeated in one day and that the Night King was built up to be this big bad, and then Jon didn't even get the fight, and it's like spectacle. And to that, I would just say, so what? I mean, there was nothing in the rule book that said that the Night King had to be defeated by Jon Snow. I mean, I personally, Arya was my favorite character in the first place. So for me, I'm like, Jon had his moment in Battle of the Bastards. Jon had his moment when he went beyond the wall with Tormund and the rest to try to get the zombie body. Jon had his moment at Hardhome against the Night King. So there have been several moments when Jon and the Night King have clashed, and Jon had his moments to shine, all of which are those scenarios where he survived. So to me, the fact that Arya kind of came in and did the damn thing didn't bother me at all. And actually, I cheered. Like, I almost cried when Arya came out of nowhere and kind of got that kill. So for me, that wasn't an issue. Again, at the end of the day, Game of Thrones has always been about the battle of the throne. The Night King was not trying to be the king of Westeros. He wasn't. He was trying to kill everybody in Westeros, and he had over 100,000 dead zombie soldiers to help him do it. So the fact that he was able to be killed and destroyed in only one night, to me, that's fine. It's inconsequential. Like, if they had more episodes, would I have liked that battle to be stretched out? Maybe, but again, to me, it came to a satisfying conclusion. Period. So that's that with the Night King. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. My major issue with episodes 4 and 5 thus far is the show is being rushed. There's no way any sane person is going to tell me that Daenerys Targaryen is, in 2 episodes, goes from savior of the North to Mad Queen, killing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of innocent people in King's Landing. Somebody make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. Make it make sense. So, again, I've been arguing with people in Facebook. I even argue with my wife, because my wife, when we first watched the episode, she could visibly see the shock in my face, and she could see the anger and just kind of like the confusion. And she was just like, well, you know, they foreshadowed her becoming bad this entire time. Why are you so surprised? And I just kind of looked at her like, I was like, yes, I understand that Dany had the potential to become the Mad Queen or just go off her rocker and just go nuts. I get that. I have no issues with that. If that's the way that George R.R. Martin decided to kind of go with this, I'm fine with that. No issues whatsoever in that regard. The problem that I have with the turn is that it didn't feel like it was earned. Dany has never, in the 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, burned or killed anybody who didn't deserve it or who didn't have a choice. I mean, people are online talking about, well, she burned these people in Marine and she did this and she did that. These were like slave traders. These were like assholes. And even the most, just go to the same season, last season when she burned the Tarleys. The Tarleys had just betrayed Olenna and basically just let the Lannisters walk up in there and basically just fucking kill her and her whole people. And Dany basically still gave them a choice. Hey, bend the knee, join my cause, and you'll live. They decided to not bend the knee, so she burned their ass. To me, that's not a bridge too far. You gave them a choice. So you trying to tell me that it's okay for her to give a choice to the Tarleys, but she's just going to all of a sudden hear some bells and just decide to murder hundreds of thousands of innocent people? She could have... Before I even get there, let me just kind of back up, because again, I'm jumping ahead too much. So, why do we think that this would happen with Dany happen? Well, number one, the show was rushed. Number two, it's already widely known that D&D, they did not want to continue this show anymore. They were done. They were done with Game of Thrones. They're ready to move on to Star Wars. They just was done with Game of Thrones. Fine. Even though I don't understand how that works, I'm like, you sign up for a show, you finish it, you see it through properly. And we already know that this is not HBO's fault, because HBO was like, look, we'll pay you guys to do 10 episodes. This is the final season. You're done. Do 10 episodes and make sure it's done right. And DB Weiss and they basically just said, nah, we're good. We can do it in 6. So when I heard it was 6 episodes, I was like, okay. I mean, as long as y'all can, take care of this, then I'm fine. And again, I am one of those people that were fine with the accelerated pace. Like, I didn't feel like I was okay with them skipping all the traveling. Like, somebody going from the north to King's Landing shouldn't take an entire season. You leave, and then by the next week, you just say, hey, this amount of time has passed. I get it. But I'm not being that petty like some of these like book readers. Like, I am not a book reader. I've only gotten into the show through the actual show, so I'm not going to be one of these people that's book bitching about prophecy and Valonqar and all this other stuff. None of that matters to me. I'm looking at the structure of the world that they use based off of the books and what they have done going forward after the books. And I think it's bullshit. So the main issues is, so let's break down episode 5 and the issues that I had, just so that I'm clear. One of the major issues that I actually have with the episode is the direction that they took Jaime. Now, granted, I was upset at how Cersei died. At first glance, I felt like she should have had a more fitting death than what she got. But I also understood the reason why they set it up that way. I just don't understand how they got to that point. Like, having Jaime in the north fuck Brienne and then basically have her ugly cry and then just leave her was unnecessary. If they knew that's the direction they were going to go, they should have just kind of had Jaime and Brienne kind of have a moment, maybe kiss, but not actually have sex. Because again, that basically the way that it turned out made it seem obvious that it was just fan service. Oh, Jaime and Brienne have sex. Oh, that's what the fans wanted to see. Boom, they had sex. I am going back to Cersei. Made no sense. You had Jamie come down to the north, to west, to Winterfell to help fight for the living. Great. You had Bran have that conversation and give him that importance to say, I didn't tell them that you're the one to push me out the window because we still need you in the longer game. So was that longer game for him to just fight with the army of the dead? And in my opinion, when you actually saw the Battle of the Dead, it wasn't like he contributed that much to the actual battle. Yeah, he was there to help Brienne, but he wasn't there for the bigger picture. And the fact that he's dead still just kind of shows that what was the point. So even if we were to make the bridge leap, because again, the problem is, and again, I'll also pause because this is another thing that I wanted to get off my chest. Half the reason why so many people are upset, and again, this is where I will take a shot at the fandom itself. I feel like the fans have made so many predictions, have done so many like fanficky type stuff about how they see the things going down, that nothing that actually happened would have satisfied them. Like, I also want to make it clear that I'm not one of those Game of Thrones fans that begs for death. I don't think that your show should be judged based off of the number of people that you kill. I feel like that's a trope that gets overused. I like the fact that in Game of Thrones, no one is safe, but you can't just kill all your people or there's no story. That's plain and simple. Like, yes, there are, like, if you look at the Red Wedding, that was people that were quote unquote important. But once they were dead, you realize that they weren't a part of the big picture. And let's be clear. Robb Stark was not that big of a character in the show in and of itself. Like, if we're talking about his total screen time, he didn't have a lot until he actually got married and was doing that whole thing with his wife. When he met the girl and he went all that stuff. So while shocking that happened, it wasn't something like he was being missed, because he didn't have any actual like real action scenes. And to me, and to this point in the show, the biggest death was gonna always be Ned Stark. Once that happened, there was nothing that was gonna match that death, in my opinion. That to me was the most shocking thing that I've seen outside of Spartacus, which is to this day still my favorite series of all time. The problem with fans, and again, I'll give you a prime example, so I'll try to provide you with context. So before episode 5 aired, I was watching hella videos online and just people theorizing on how things are going to go. And I've heard some of the most ridiculous, like random shit that could have never possibly happened. And these people are online just pretending and swearing up and down that that's what's going to happen. I heard people talk about, Drogon, when he was over in Essos, he laid other dragon eggs, and those eggs could have hatched. And then even though Viserys and Rhaegal died, she's going to come back through the clouds with more dragons that had grew up and had found her. Like, this is the shit that I'm hearing people saying, and these shits are spreading like wildfire. I heard people talking about, the reason why Euron Greyjoy or whoever the dude with the Iron Fleet, the reason why he was looking up at the sky was not because it was Dany. It was Dany coming through with armor on Drogon, which would have made sense if she came through like that. But just in general, just like these fan theories, I heard people talking about, Arya's gonna go through and she's gonna use all her many face skills to kind of dodge through. Arya's gonna kill, who's Dany's boy? She's going to kill the King of the Unsullied and take his face and then go kill, and she's going to be the one that goes and kills Dany now. Just the most ridiculous things. If you look at how the show has been handled, things have to be set up by breadcrumbs in order for them to be legit. And none of that even hints to what's going to happen. But again, I digress. So when you have those kind of outlandish things going on, if they don't happen, it's going to be a disappointment. Plain and simple. So that's that. Let's get back to the issue at hand. I did not have an issue. I had an issue at first at how Cersei and Jaime died, but once I kind of had a moment to sit on it, it made sense. The only thing that I would have had enjoyed to make that death scene better, which would have made fans happy, is to see her regret progress further sooner. See Dany come through and wreck shit the way that she was. See how her face just kind of changes and how she's just kind of like desperate desperate for forgiveness. Or if Jaime and Cersei were gonna die together, at the very least have Dany be the one that does it directly. Meaning they're in the throne room, the building is crumbling around them. Dany kind of comes in, sees the two of them, and just kind of like Dracarys and burns them together. And they kind of die poetically together. But at least give Dany that satisfaction to know that, hey, you killed Missandei, I got your back, bitch. Something. But for them, again, but that's just my thought on that whole process. Let's talk about Clegane Bowl, because Clegane Bowl was probably the highlight of the entire episode, to be honest. That was probably, and again, if we're talking about a technical, on the music, the acting, the visual feast that we were presented was fantastic. The writing was just garbage. It was hot, high quality garbage, period. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up within the next 5 minutes or so. But let's go back to Dany, and again, my major issue with how her turn wasn't justified. Like I said before earlier in the video, Dany's character, yes, she was set up to become the villain at the end of the show. If that's how they wanted to show it, the breadcrumbs were there. If they had 10 episodes, what I would have liked to have seen was Dany slowly go into madness. Something that they could have set up ahead of time. Or if she was like, even with the Tarleys, if you wanted to set up the fact that she had the propensity to go mad and to do heinous acts like that, why give the Tarleys a choice? Just say, hey, you just follow Cersei. Cersei's my enemy. Fuck you and your troops. I'm gonna give you one chance, and if you don't, I'm gonna burn your ass and just burn them. Men, all of them. Have her have moments where in the series, if this is where you guys ultimately knew you were gonna go, have these moments where she didn't show mercy. Have her have moments where she was completely cold and unjust to innocents. I mean, for God's sakes, she had moments where she locked her dragons away because they killed one child. And then here we go, in season 8, she literally killed hundreds of thousands of people. Dany in one day killed more people than the Night King has killed in 1,000 years. Let that sink in. We had confirmed that there was about 1 million people in King's Landing, and Dany systematically committed genocide and went up and down each street and basically obliterated all of them. Damn near. So just think about that. Let that sink in. Dany lost a dragon. Dany lost half her Unsullied and Dothraki trying to kill the Night King, to prevent the Night King from killing all these humans. And then Dany in 1 and 2 episodes systematically killed more people than the Night King probably could have done in 1,000 years. Again, let that sink in. And why? Because she ain't get the dick. Again, and that's another story, because again, that's a flaw in Jon Snow's character. Even though there's a lot of people that say that Dany and Jon didn't have the same, Kit Harington and Amelia Clark didn't have the same chemistry that she had with Khal Drogo, which I agree with, kinda, But I actually like them as a couple. I could have seen them. That's how I wanted them to end the series. I kind of wanted them to kind of be like, Dany found out that she's pregnant. They kill Cersei. There's probably some other drama for the throne. Yada, yada, yada. Maybe one of them dies, but then their kid is the one that kind of continues the story on. Something to that effect. They even kind of had the breadcrumbs for that in and out the story that entire time. You know, when Jon and they were at the Dragon Pits before the negotiations happened, they talked about her, the fact that she couldn't have kids. That shit was foreshadowed so much, and that shit just went to the wayside. Period. Dany, in general, like, it wasn't earned. And you could even tell, like, if you go online and you look at certain interviews where people are talking about how season 8 is, you can tell that even the actors were not happy with the direction of how the show ends. So, in conclusion, I do not have an issue with how Jaime died and Cersei died now. I do not have a direct issue with Dany becoming the Mad Queen. I have an issue with how it was done. It wasn't earned. And there's no one in the comment section or otherwise, and I need somebody. If you could, please come. But I have a very hard time trying to figure out how anyone can explain to me how Dany went from 0 to 100 that quick. From being the breaker of change and all of that to the genocidal maniac that she became. I mean, at the very least, they could have fucking been like, when she's sitting there pondering what she's going to do next after the soldiers. Mind you, after she had a convincing win, she could have been sitting up there. She could have even had a moment where maybe she flashed back, or maybe one of the Lannisters, after they surrendered and they had to kind of rang the bells, they could have easily had just kind of been like, someone could have took a pot shot at her with an arrow to try to take her out, and then she decided, oh yeah, I want to do that, and then boom, decided to kill them all. Something. Hell, she could have been trying to kill the Lannister men and then just kind of saw the Lannisters using the civilians as meat shields, and then kind of been like, oh, so you guys want to do that kind of unhonorable thing because you don't think that I'll kill these people? And then Dracarys decided to try to kill the people. Something that could have justified a rational reason why she could have done that, but still look bad if that's the direction you wanted to go. But for her to have won convincingly, to have the bells ring, for them to surrender, and then for you to then not go to Cersei in the Red Keep and just kill the people in the Red Keep, or just kill Cersei, for you to systematically go up and down and kill the innocent civilians is just madness. And again, now I'm going to stick it out until the end, but I'm not excited for the series finale now. And on top of that, I'm not really excited about what's next in Game of Thrones with the spinoff, because now I've just been so tainted by the direction that they're going. I don't know if I'm ready for a spinoff. So let me know what you guys think. Comment in the section below. Let me know if you like this kind of vlog style. This is Show Up the King. Damn, Dany.